Welcome back to another episode of WittyBantr. Your hosts Nabil, Daniel, and Anika are here. And you prefaced some topics we could discuss, but I'm happy. I just want to express my happiness that I won my fishing tournament in my video game today. This happens once a week at 2 p.m. So the window is narrow. And you have to get first place to win the prize that I want to win. And today was the day I won it. And I tried maybe 2 weeks prior.
So it's an Eid
and we were all cheering him on. Michael was watching.
Yeah, I streamed it and Michael was cheering me on.
As he's fishing virtually.
Yeah, virtual items.
So happy day.
Yeah.
Happy day, Eid day.
Yep.
Celebrations all around, apart from the poor goats.
Yeah. Rest in peace to goats.
Yeah, that's why I'm vegan. Pseudo-vegan.
So what was the thing you were mentioning?
Tell us more about your euphoria about winning this. You know,
what
is it about winning? Because some people relish tragedy.
Yeah.
And they really do. I mean, they either want to kind of...
Yeah, I mean, tragedy probably is just easier to happen. But this was like, I was excited because, like, it's something that, one, it's exclusive in that it only happens for 10 minutes a week. Literally Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And this is with everybody on your server. So that could be...
How many people?
I mean, per server, it could be easily 3,000 to 5,000 people.
And you won?
You have to get in first. But
and
I don't know how many people are competing because there's no...
It could be 50 to 100.
Basically, you have to go out into the world, fish 40 of these specific fish, and then quickly come back and turn it in to the quest giver.
But you never know who's
But yeah, you don't know who's ahead, and you don't know who's even participating. So
and someone can also attack you.
Yeah, so while you're fishing, people can attack you and mess you up. Other people who are competing...
They're malicious.
Basically, there's in the waters, there's little circles with little fish in it. You have to go to them. And if multiple people are at them, it can deplete that resource faster. So... Yeah, I think it's very hard to win, and so that's part of why it's like woo-hoo!
And the fact that it's comes rarely. It's
it's rare
once a week at a specific time.
So it makes you feel more special than like winning other things, because like
so the cynic in me is thinking, who's manipulating this all, and are they sitting behind the scenes like the Wizard of Oz and saying ha ha ha?
It would be like someone's friend. So if I wanted to help Nabil, I could be like, I'll mess these people up for you so that you can win.
Are you referring to the people who make the game?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Because that would be a bummer, you know, if they're thinking, we're just, you know, if you're saying nobody really knows. Or maybe maybe
just,
I'm too cynical.
Yeah, I think... There's no, they don't win anything. This is also within this game, World of Warcraft. Not a lot of. This isn't like a main focus. This fishing thing.
Yes.
World of Warcraft has a bunch of activities you can do, and this is kind of something that is a niche thing that people are interested in. But
and you do it every Sunday at 2 o'clock?
I haven't been. So like maybe 2 months ago, I did it like 2 weeks in a row and lost both times. But then I did some research on like there's these different kind of advantages you can get. There's a potion that can help you that make you walk on water. So you can't cast if you're in the water and you're like swimming, you can't cast. So sometimes there's fish way in the water that you can't reach from land. But if you have this water walking potion, you can walk on the water and then get those hard to reach ones. So
normally you wouldn't think of that.
Do you feel quite spiritual as you walk on water?
There's nothing spiritual. So yeah, I did a little homework on some tricks, and then there's
but now you've told everyone who's listening to your podcast they can get that potion. How come Daniel next week he can get it?
Well, there's people who've
I also don't have high enough fishing to be part of this competition.
You don't need to have high fishing.
Oh really?
You only need one fishing.
Oh.
What do you mean? How are you using that word? You only need one fishing.
Okay, so in this game, fishing is a skill, and there's a bunch of different skills, and you can level up your skill.
Yes.
So the higher...
Like tailoring, I think there's leatherworking.
So there's like a pool of 300 points. And so the higher your profession skill is...
Yes.
You can make different types of items.
So when you say you have one in fishing, that means...
It's the lowest.
beginner.
Yes.
You just signed up.
But you're talking about fishing as being what are you using the word fishing for?
It's like
it's not
skill
a verb.
or
it's a profession. You're using it as a profession.
Yeah.
So if I have one in teaching,
like you have 1 point in teaching.
so it's 1 point in teaching. I'm just kind of a very basic teacher.
That's that everybody.
What's the highest you can go?
It's like 300.
Do you have teaching as part of that?
No, there's no teaching.
there's
What's closest? The closest is probably this
Enchantment?
profession called enchanting or inscription. Probably inscription.
Yeah.
Okay.
So inscription is a profession where you can make these scrolls, which are similar to potions that can give you buffs. A buff is like
give them to other people.
Enhancements. It makes your character stronger in some degree. So
I could be a buffed enhancer? No,
Inscriptor.
Inscriptor.
Yeah.
Inscriptor does what?
Inscriptor. So it's multiple
inscription.
things. They can make these
Scribes.
scribes or
Yes.
scriptions. Is that a word? Scriptures to
It's already kind of biblical, isn't it? You walk
kind
on
of
water.
it's
you've got scripture.
I mean it's the world of
Scribes.
Warcraft, and so it's very
They do have influences on like a lot of the some of the lore and some of the stuff is based
the basic
off of,
lore is like light versus dark.
I mean, in the lore, and yes, light versus dark.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
It's
And there's
very,
gods in it too.
What's the word?
Demigods.
I mean, it's called Warcraft. It's very I don't know, not mystical, but like but yeah, it hits on those themes.
fantasy.
Yeah, like it's fantasy. But yeah, so there's a lot of guides out there. So me giving away secrets is nothing new. A lot of it is
Oh, so they call guides the people who post.
yeah, they
the
post a
cheat
guide
sheet.
or a tutorial
Yes.
on YouTube, and they basically
They're
explain.
allowed to do it.
Yeah. You
Yes.
can. Yeah, so they basically go through different tips and tricks on how.
Well, some
to,
things are illegal. Like there was a bot that someone created where it'll basically level the character for you. And
What do you mean level the character?
like
So
it'll
basically-
it'll kill boars,
Yes.
like any creature that will give you experience points.
Yes.
It'll have a robot control your guy to just keep doing that.
So some people would write programs to play the game for them automatically without
Yes.
them playing. That's cheating.
And they sued them, didn't they? Or something?
Yeah, there was one.
No, I
company.
noticed there are boar in this game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. There are
nice
one
transition.
of the in.
Of course, I would notice.
There's a
that.
class, a race that you can be called the orcs, and in their starting zone, you're introduced to boars that you have to kill.
A boar. Oh, you kill the boar.
Yeah, you kill
Yeah.
the boars. So hunters is a
Yes.
class. You can make
You
boars
can
your
train a
pet,
boar.
Yes.
and then they fight for you.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, you kill boars in the whole game,
Because they'll attack you. They're wild.
and they yield experience points. But
So I would be a buff.
you could be So here, let's see. There's different races, classes, and professions. So let's start with race.
What race would I be?
So I'm
Human?
trying to think. There's humans.
so that's a race.
There's blood elves.
Okay.
They're a type of elf. There's night elves.
Okay.
Dwarves,
There's
gnomes.
dwarves. There's gnomes.
These are all races.
These are all races. There's two factions: the
Yes.
Horde and the Alliance.
Okay.
The Horde are kind of and there's no. Some people assume that the Horde are the bad guys and the Alliance are the good guys, but really they have their own stories. The Horde are just a little more disorganized. They're like, imagine it being like first world countries versus third world countries, and Horde are kind
Savages.
The developing countries.
yeah, and their style is a bit more
Haphazard.
Mhm.
yeah.
And the Alliance have cities.
And the Alliance are a bit more
structure.
established.
They have structures, institutions, restrictions.
Maybe I don't know if it even goes that deep, but maybe. Well, they do have all stories, so I don't know too much about it. But maybe you would be which side would you want to be on, the Alliance or the Horde? Okay, so Alliance.
I aspire to be
Horde are
a
like
bohemian, so I want to be a
So
horde.
then you want to be Horde. Horde are
Yes,
very
yes.
tribal.
Yes.
Okay, so within the Horde you have orcs, and obviously you can be male or female. Orcs, which are big green.
So there's no other option. It is just male or female.
Yeah, that's it. Just male and female.
That's interesting, isn't it? In this day and
guess.
age, that they
this
still that
this has started
distinguishing-
since 2004.
Yes.
They've
Okay.
had that.
Okay. So you have to choose between being male and female.
And remember, they also have to design the whole character. But anyway, so
yes.
male or female. Now you could be an orc, which is a green, muscular,
giant like.
Kind of, yeah.
Yes.
Then there's tauren, which are like
cows.
Think of them as bulls or cows, but they
yes.
can walk.
Yes.
And they're also very big. They're bigger than the orcs.
Mm.
And then you have undead, the Forsaken. They are.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're like
Yes.
people who have died and come back.
Yes.
There's goblins.
I want the undead.
Very short guys.
I think I know exactly.
Okay.
I want to be an undead.
Okay.
Pandaria.
Okay, so yeah, then there's pandas. But anyway, undead it is. Now classes, you can be an undead can be like a warrior, which is a very basic sword and shield kind of guy.
No, I don't want to be a warrior.
A mage, which is a wizard with a staff.
Yes.
A warlock, which is also a wizard, but focuses on the dark arts.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a mage.
Oh, a warlock.
A warlock.
A warlock.
I'm an undead warlock.
Yeah, undead warlock. Well, then, okay. I guess that's good. There's priest, which it's not what you think of priest. They believe in like the light, which I guess is similar. But
Yes.
You can be a shadow priest.
Yeah, you can be. That's a specialization within the class. But anyway, you pick warlock.
So is female? It's the same thing. A warlock, a female
there's no
warlock.
difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do any
technically,
of
a
the
female
male...
warlock is a witch, actually, in English
gotcha.
verbiage. But yeah, you would be a female warlock. What were you gonna say?
No, I was wondering if you know of any players who choose the opposite gender.
Yep. People do that. So, for instance, there's a troll race, and the males are hunched over, and it doesn't look that. A lot of people prefer characters who stand up straight.
Yes.
So the female trolls, they stand up straight. So a lot of people will pick female just for that reason. But yeah, I don't think people, like in some other games like League of Legends, you can't even pick the gender. It's just kind of, you want this toolkit, then you have to play Katarina, which is a girl. It's not there's no attachment. But I will say this is a bit different because it's a role-playing game. So you're you play this one character for a long time. So yeah, there might be
there's more attachment.
Some people like to actually role play within the game, which is like you pretend you're when you're talking to other people.
Talk like
there's a whole. So that could be a reason. Yeah. So okay, so you're an
So this is a way of escaping.
Oh, definitely. I mean, video games in general can be that, but this is really more so than any other genre because it's a role-playing game. So there's a lot of story,
real life,
characters.
Is it deflating coming back to reality? Is it kind
of after you've played it for so many years? Yes. No, but I can imagine like the first time it came out. Yeah. That's why people probably get addicted is because. Yes. In this game, I'm an undead warlock. Yes. And then in real life, I'm just whatever.
Or even in Ready Player One, they explore this theme of like escapism because they're all living in extreme poverty.
He's referring to the movie that came out by Steven Spielberg. It was called Ready Player One.
Where everyone's in a virtual reality and they're trying to get some competition. They're trying to get some ring or something.
And the corporations are... somehow ruining the experience.
Well, they're like hiring people to basically and try and get the ring because you get a percentage of the company because the guy died. But in that movie, or it was based off of a book, but they explore the idea of like everyone living in poverty, so they have these VR headsets where they can create their own world and kind of escape from their reality, I guess.
So yeah,
that is interesting. No, and the pause was because when we started out, we were discussing how we might focus on the individual and the self and the ideas that you want to share. And I was thinking of this, what we were just talking about, the games of creating a new reality or participating in a different reality, and whether the concept of self changes in that reality, which it apparently does, because coming back to reality can be but our original discussion just before the podcast started was with things like this podcast and other ways to hear people is the world more confusing with all these different voices and all these different selves speaking out, or is it a way of improving the world where you get to hear voices and perspectives and selves that you did not hear 50 years ago?
I think it can be confusing, but I would rather lean on this side because the alternative is like you know less, or you have less perspective. So in the past, where sharing ideas is hard, you'd get the perspective of maybe what's on TV or something. Whereas now you can see many more people's perspectives, and then you kind of understand that you can't really generalize in a lot of situations.
Yes, but so the other thing, which is of course contradictory to some extent, once you become aware of yourself, the self changes in the way you present it. It's not the same self that is the I don't want to say unconscious self, but not the projected self. So, for example, us talking during this podcast, we're projecting, we're digging deep, we're editing things that we would say if it weren't a podcast. Even if we say this is an open discussion, there's still things which we think, okay, that's not worth even saying here. And so you're cleaning up the self.
Yeah.
And it always will be that way. The self that is communicated with others is always, I want to say refined, but it doesn't have to be refined, because you could have an unrefined. You could choose to present an unrefined self.
Yeah.
And you do that sometimes when you're with your friends, or whether you're with your, where you choose to.
Yeah, be more
real,
brash.
Raw.
Yes.
Yeah,
I guess
it depends. It's like a tool that you can use in different situations. So if you're in an interview for a job, you're going to have a lot of refinement because you have an objective. You're trying to convince the other person that you'd be a good fit for this position. So you have a motive and an objective. Whereas if you're talking socially with friends, for the most part, if it's casual, then
your objective is still that you want to keep the friends. You don't want.
Yeah,
to
that's
make them
true.
into
And maybe
enemies.
you want to have fun and laugh. So then maybe you'll focus your words and discussion on things that you think might be funny.
Yes.
Um,
So one is the projection of the self, and the one is the reception of, and the other is kind of the reception of what others say. So we're talking and sharing ideas and, sharing our perspective. And then whoever out there is listening, who might or might not listen, is hearing something which won't necessarily be shown on TV because there's no script, or there's no plan, or there's no,
yeah.
it's just kind of
Well, we're on TV, kind of.
kind of, yes.
It's
Well,
better
that's what
than
I'm saying.
TV.
Yeah.
But it's an unedited TV only up to the point where we've decided there's some things we don't want to talk about just because this is not about that.
Yeah.
But we've also decided, somewhat like that space that you were just saying, I've forgotten the name for it, the underdeveloped or the developing countries.
Third world country.
No, yeah, but the space in video games where there's no structure. You call
Alliance.
it, what's it called? The space in video games. It's called something.
The space in video games.
As in, you said there's a space which is like the developing countries, and then
Oh, these are factions.
Alliance
Yes.
and Horde.
So there's the Alliance and the Horde.
hordes. Yes, so we're like, the podcast is kind of horde-like, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be. So what is the
so what's the point?
Yeah, what
There
was
is no point.
No, the point is, I think I like the rawness of the internet versus the refinement of
production companies.
And one example is that show we watched of the billionaire guy.
Mm-hmm.
The concept was good,
Yeah, I was out.
but
What do you mean you didn't like it?
so the
It was
end
too-
of the first episode, that's what, because like it was kind of real, like we're like, oh, this guy's actually starting from the bottom,
But he's got
but the
cameras all
minute,
around.
yeah, but that's fine. I mean, you
Yes,
have
yeah.
to do that to record the show.
Yeah.
But the minute you start seeing like similarities between this show and other reality shows where it's over dramatized and people are
Yes.
crying and people
Oh,
are
yes.
emotional when it's doesn't seem authentic. Maybe it was, but the impression I got was this is a production company. We need to make this entertaining. Let's do this. Let's do that. Versus if it was on the internet, it would be more real where he actually is trying to come from 0 to a million.
So,
So that's the part, that disconnect between the rawness of the internet versus the refinement of production.
And yeah, so for that program, at the end of the episode, it was showing a preview of what was to come. And in that preview, people were yelling. And it's like, that doesn't happen at work.
Yes.
I mean, not often. People don't yell at each other. So right there,
They
I was
might,
like,
but not
Yeah.
as often as it was showing.
Yeah. I've never, I think one time I heard someone yell inside a conference room. One time in my many years.
I heard
of
someone
work.
yelling over the phone. I was like, geez, this is an awkward call.
But I've never seen like one of my teammates come up and yell at me
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, or my boss.
Or-
I've
someone
actually
else.
had somebody yell at me.
Really?
Okay, well.
And
Well,
I have
but-
seen people yelling.
Yeah.
I mean, you would imagine educational
Yeah.
institutions are not that way. But I have seen yelling in my
But
workplace.
I'm sure it happens.
But it's usually one-sided. It's not like one person yells and the other person responds. It's kind of one person yells and the other was, oh my goodness.
Well, there might be a back and forth, but it's definitely not nearly as often as
Yes,
that show was
yes.
portraying.
And also, I'm not interested in that anyway. If I'm watching this program, I just want to see the strategies that this person uses to get from
I
100
don't like
to a
that
million.
drama either. It's very
Yeah,
destructive.
which is you'll see a big difference in internet content providers, like just individuals who make content. They can make it without the drama.
Right. Like, there's some YouTubers who go through Chernobyl. That's kind of interesting because, like, it's after the whole event and they're seeing how people are living. And it's a very real, authentic kind of thing. But I feel like, I guess the only thing I could think of was Anthony Bourdain when he went into CNN. A lot of him traveling in those areas would have some element of drama.
Yes.
If you noticed before, like when he had his own show versus CNN, there was always like what's going to happen next? Or when it felt forced, it didn't feel like it was an actual part of the
So that's interesting. You don't
situation.
You think drama
Fake
is
drama.
off-putting.
Fake drama.
or maybe the way we perceive it seems fake.
If I'm going in to watch a movie that's a drama, I'm fine with it.
Yes. And that's fake.
Because I know
Yeah.
they're faking it.
Yeah.
But when they're
Here
faking it, pretending to be real is the issue.
Oh, yeah.
Or if it's very exaggerated.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested if it's a real setting. I'm not interested in seeing people like argue and yell.
Yes.
So.
Is that a common feeling amongst your friends?
Yeah, I don't know who likes it, just in general, right? Who wants to be around people who are yelling?
Well, the people who yell. Because there are people who yell.
Yeah, that's true.
There are people who blow their fuses.
Or people who are...
And it surprises you, but there are plenty of people who do that.
And
Yeah,
what about
true.
the conflict we saw of the two kids on the internet? Like, there's a shorter kid who was trying to bully this older or way taller guy, and then the taller guy just basically knocked him out. Remember in school?
Yeah, I remember.
So it's entertaining because there's conflict and there's some hilarity in it. So I can see the interest in drama and conflict and fight.
I mean, fight
I don't
scenes
like
are big
that,
in
though.
movies.
I don't like the video you're referencing. That's not good for humanity.
Yeah.
Because you're promoting, it's like two people are getting into a fight in real life. This is high school, they're kids too.
Yes,
and then one guy gets socked in the face and then he passes out. And it's like, and just the whole, everyone on the internet's watching, but
Yes.
it might promote might help
It
the
might
other kid.
entertain.
Yeah, the other kid's like, oh man, if I get into a fight,
Yeah.
man, everyone on the internet's gonna.
Yes.
It's like, is that the society we want to live in? I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
reacting to
I-
the clip.
I sense where you're going with it, that there is a human entertainment factor when there's anything that is where you're observing and you're not in immediate dangers.
It's like the argument of you're part of the problem if you don't step in front of a bully,
yes,
kind of thing.
Yes.
Where now it's the people who are watching it are it's the same concept, I guess.
Yes.
But I think in school previously, like if there was a fight going on, most of the time people wouldn't butt in. The only difference is you're recording it, right?
Yeah, but it's still
So-
not good.
That's a
I think the-
moral thing.
the
isn't it?
only
It's about
good
ethics.
part
Those
of-
are
the
both
only-
equal.
But
Yes.
here's the thing: the only good thing about the recording part is now we can see. Oh, it was the smaller guy who was being the antagonizer. Previously, the school would have been like, okay, obviously this kid is the one who got knocked out. So,
Yeah,
and you're
but-
way bigger than him.
Yeah, but that's only good if you give that footage directly to the school administration, not posting it online for others to see.
That's true. Where they post it.
So yeah, I mean, I agree that it could be helpful,
And police conflict as well.
but it's helpful if
good
you
for
just
both
give it to
parties.
the police and the administration and
Not
not post
the
it on
online-
YouTube so
yeah, that
everyone
might
can
be
So
see
I
it.
saw something similar where a 13-year-old had done some, I think she was doing some chalk art on the pavement in Seattle. I don't know, you might have seen it as well. It was on Facebook and other places.
Mm-hmm.
And the police came and put her in shackles and wanted to take her in for questioning, and she was crying, and somebody said she's only 13, and they said, we don't care, and they were taking her in. Of course, I only saw a snapshot of it, and it was kind of, I didn't know what to make of it.
Mm-hmm.
The people don't interfere when the police is there, because that's a feeling of there's that power dynamic.
So she
isn't
wasn't
there?
doing anything wrong, and the police were messing with her.
I don't know. It seemed like
Yeah,
it,
I mean that's hard to.
yes.
I'm not gonna step in front of a police officer.
Yes, an
Um,
armed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, interestingly, which would kind of counter my argument in a way, is child labor in America. What helped stop it was actually pictures of the children
Oh,
in the
I heard that,
factories.
yeah.
I saw some
Yes.
video about it,
Yes.
where once people saw what it looked like, then I don't know, the mentality changed or something.
Well, it's the same with the slavery. The book. What's it called?
But I guess the only difference is if you're looking at a picture of child labor, there's no like, oh man, do you see him get beat up? It's just like, oh, this is sad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas a fight could be seen in an entertaining way.
But there's a big ethical thing of, one of the examples was, starving kids, posting photographs, or just posting photographs, particularly of children,
Mm-hmm.
but any victims, compromising photographs of people. And when do we become voyeurs? And when do we act on what we're seeing?
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people argue that humanity has become so hardened with all the visuals that we see, but I still believe, as I forget which book, the research shows that humans have become less violent than what
Yeah,
they
I-
were
yeah,
2,000
I could agree
years
with
ago. And we're living longer lives,
Mm-hmm.
but there still is this perception that we, as human beings, we are somehow getting worse with social media, and
Yeah,
or is it just that we are that bad,
Yeah,
and then whatever we have.
I think it's that. I think the technology just enables this kind of behavior.
Mm.
I don't think it enables that. I think it just documents it where previously it wasn't.
Well,
True.
some things wouldn't have existed if you didn't have it. It's like so these kissing pranks on YouTube that are kind of silly. That nobody would do that if they couldn't share it with everyone, right?
There were people doing pretty stupid pranks.
Before video.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would imagine. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think there's a big motive behind a lot of these guys that I can get a lot of views if I make. They
Right,
tried one
right.
thing,
Yeah, I agree.
now-
Even like the whole charity, I mean, whatever you're giving to charity or whatever.
Or
But
yeah, like
they
if I
record
give
themselves
$10,000 to like a homeless
Yeah,
guy,
that wouldn't have been. Yeah, that's true.
Which
And
I don't even know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess that's good, but like, what are you doing it for? Are you trying to help this guy, or are you just trying to get views?
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
What's
it's
on
actually
that?
really popular right now. There's a
What
guy
happens?
who he basically gives them like some random person $10,000, like a waiter or homeless
guy.
person or and they'll just record it. And so some people are saying they're just trying to get clicks and views and stuff, but other people are like, oh, he's helping people. So
Well, yeah, you can imitate people.
Yeah, the only thing is like
That's
you're not solving any macro level problems. Like if you're trying to solve homelessness, giving a guy $10,000 isn't gonna solve that problem. So I would rather this person.
true, but at least he's doing something. It's like the same thing with the whole environmentalist. You do whatever
Yes.
you can, right? Recycle and all that.
I guess it's a band-aid on the wound, though.
Yeah.
What should this person do?
Get involved politically. That's probably your best bet. Or if you're making a bunch of money on YouTube, start a company and I don't know, start some rehabilitation programs or facilities where homeless people can walk in and there's internet access and like it's like internet access and a soup kitchen combined where you can, and maybe there's showers too, where you can get people to like sign up for like staffing agencies or something and help them with interviews. I think you could do something like that for maybe a little more than $10,000.
You'd need
but
a lot more, yeah.
yeah,
But at least.
but
you
it
could
sounds like they're
start.
making
Yes,
money if they
yes.
keep making new videos.
Yeah.
Some of these YouTubers making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that was your highlight, the win.
Yeah, that felt good.
Daniel,
Fishing, man.
what was
Holy
your-
moly, it is. And sometimes I messed up
Yeah.
and I was getting
It's like,
all nervous.
especially when you're probably even on your way to the guy too.
Yeah. And I hearthstoned. The hearthstone is a way to teleport from one location to the other. So instead of manually walking back, teleported my way there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My crazy win. I don't really have a crazy win. I
wins don't
guess.
happen too often.
Yeah.
But what's
Scored
your,
some goals.
What's your highlight of the week?
The highlight?
I'm applying for jobs. Programming has slowed down a bit. But not in a bad way. Like my portfolio is in a complete state in that the few projects I started, I completed and polished up. So yeah, and then I want to figure out I have a little bit of a mental shift in like going into being a full developer as opposed to a customer facing like technical support guy. I'm leaning towards that now. I think it's just based on the applications I've been doing. The only 2 calls I got were for roles that are like that.
What are the pros and cons
Between the 2 jobs?
Yes.
I don't know. The pros about the hybrid one is that I'd probably be a better fit for that, realistically. Based on my experience, I can probably more easily get a job like that. I mean, if I take some lessons from Jeet, he's actually moving into not that direction, but away from the technical stuff and more he wants to get into like management or...
He has some, what was he saying? He's got TED Talks, things coming up. And
yeah, apparently.
all kinds of highlights.
Yeah. But so with that advice, I'm thinking, okay, maybe you don't want to be a developer, like coder for that long. But I mean, I'm still applying to them, but so I'm at like 100 applications. I do about 5 a day, not including weekends.
That's a good idea, I guess, to kind of diversify what you're doing, because then at least you'll know what you end up wanting to do. Like if you try this customer-facing programming job, you might end up liking it more than you would have the technical aspect.
Yeah. And then I also think like well, Munim had said yesterday, oh, so you must really like programming because you've been doing it for a year, but it's kind of at a time where I just kind of slowed down a lot. But I think that's more of, I'm like, okay, like,
I've covered the basics.
Now you're
covered the
applying.
basics. I'm just, I'm more focused on applying, I guess.
I've outsourced my logo. I got that
Yeah,
today,
I saw the logo.
and now
Looked
I'm going to
pretty
get
good.
in black and white, so that depending on which website I put it on, it'll be better. And then just optimizing the website and making it look better for when I do have the inventory. But launch date will be 1st of next month.
1st of September?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
your highlight is before mine.
I guess
Interesting.
so.
Mine is 17th. Yes, I am optimizing as well, but I'm doing more low tech as well as high tech. I have been going to the local libraries and telling them that I am a local author and this book is coming out and I'm interested in talking about it and sharing. And the 2 libraries that I've gone to so far, I've had a good response where they said they might be interested. So I've done that. And then I've got some flyers, which I've been sharing at the Grotto, which is a writer's place in the city. And also put some flyers up at the local bookstores. I've also been going online and looking at, because the book is about women in South Asia, I mean, the story, the setting is the Punjab, and so I'm reaching out to all these organizations, South Asian studies departments in different locations, and saying if, inviting people to my book launch if they want to hear about, because I feel the stories I've written are very authentic stories, even though they're fictionalized, but they express, and that's the reviews also said that I provided enough detail where it brings the place to life. And so that is another perspective I'm providing. So it's not just the story of Tara, but it's also the experience of rural South Asia, because I imagine, it's fairly similar across the border, India and Pakistan. So
To pivot, I just thought of an interesting idea for marketing. You could try and make a YouTube video of the process that your bean guy goes through.
Yeah, that is one of the ideas.
Oh, okay.
So I want to make at least a special page on my website, but maybe on YouTube as well would be a good idea.
do you have permission
to show
make the video?
I'm sure he would ask.
I'll ask, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you wouldn't have a problem with it, because he was even saying like, yeah, if there's anything, that would be good for my business, that would be nice as well. And
Because
you could teach me,
your target customers would
appreciate,
probably appreciate. Oh,
yeah,
this is where the beans are coming from.
this
Okay.
is how it's.
And it looks authentic.
Yeah. I want to use the professional DSLR camera and stuff.
Yeah.
The one that is there.
Well, I don't know. I guess it shoots video. Honestly, though, well, I don't know about your phone. I'm sure it does.
Oh.
These have very high quality cameras
Right,
for even
right.
video.
True.
So I wouldn't shy away from that either.
That's true.
Because the camera one, like this one specifically,
It's laggy or something.
no, it's like the battery's not that good, and I think you can only get like 30 minutes of film.
Which
I don't
one?
remember.
Which isn't too bad.
I have this
it's
I bought this
DSLR.
fancy camera, DSLR.
The one that you took to the Play on Words event?
No.
No. He used his phone.
Actually,
Y- y-
I think I used a GoPro.
Or
I
GoPro.
thought, yes, I thought you did.
Yeah. That one has very bad audio, but
Mm.
yeah, audio wise, you
that's-
might want to, if you have some cash, invest in dynamic microphones that hook onto the collar. It'll make for a higher production quality.
And make sure there's not a lot of drama in it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure you're.
It'd be like
that
a
would
minute,
Be quite amusing,
30
wouldn't
second
it?
video.
If there's some
what the
coffee
hell?
bean drama.
I don't know if I want to buy this kind of coffee. It
That doesn't
stresses
seem
me
fair.
out.
You get
But
a
yeah.
bit of an adrenaline rush with the
Yeah.
drama.
That's
Isn't that
true.
why you don't drink coffee to relax?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I
Boost
drink
up.
it to focus, and I don't want any distractions.
But also, it would be good to use that for YouTube advertising, which is fairly cheap
yeah,
right
that's
now.
true. Port Santos.
Yeah, Port Santos.
Dun, 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 dun. Some sort of music or
What's
something.
that?
I just made up.
Santos?
Oh, that's his company.
Oh, I did
Yeah.
not know that.
I mean, it's not registered, but
Oh, did you not? No, you didn't.
you
know?
had shared it with me.
I can show you the website
You
too.
can show me the website.
I have the logo.
yeah, make sure you register it as a company before you start doing business transactions. You
To
don't
protect
want,
yourself legally.
yeah, you don't want people to go for you for your personal assets.
But yeah.
And I don't know if people would sue over paper cuts, but you should consider that too.
Well, and tax benefits as well.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the tax
Benefits.
implications. Yeah.
I
I don't know if it's that different because a lot of times if you don't register as an LLC, you would file your taxes as a pass through where it just goes to your personal one.
Okay. That's really impressive.
Oh, that's the website. Let me see.
Yeah.
Port Santos opening soon.
And
Be the
sentence.
first to know when we launch. A short
Tell
sentence
us-
describing. Wait, I
Yeah,
didn't read
read
it.
that.
A short sentence
not edit it.
describing when someone will receive by subscribing. Spread,
Like as in edit that
spread the word. Enter using password.
What is Port Santos?
Which also I've learned. I've talked
Tell
about
us
this
about
in
the
the
name.
previous
Oh, I'm
podcast. If you,
sorry.
no, I'm just kidding. Port of Santos is a port in Brazil that in 1700s or 1800s, I don't know, was the basically center port for importing and exporting goods in South America. And their primary one at the time, and still is was coffee. So that's kind of the inspiration. I just got rid of the of and then just put Port Santos.
That is impressive.
But the login thing. So I'm actually gonna remove that because from the research I've done, you don't want to create any paywalls or not paywalls, but like
Walls.
any walls that will make it harder for the buyer to purchase. It's good if you can still give deals to people with a promo code, but it's not a good idea, especially starting out, to have people log in and create their own.
If you had like a click button, like pay with your Amazon, that would be pretty good.
Right.
Usually
as we had a problem with a game where we can't log in,
Oh, yeah,
and then
this is so silly.
do you want to explain it or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just like a user experience frustration where we're trying to download this new game and you have to sign into your account, but I don't remember my password.
Yes.
So, but the problem is if I try like literally 2 times, I think it locks you out. And then when you want to create a new password,
you go in circles.
No, yeah, and like creating a new password, you can't even do that too many times, or that will lock
Yeah.
you out. And I don't know.
I couldn't even get to that part. Mine was like, you've been logging in too many times, but like I've literally never, I haven't logged in the past.
No, and I'm glad they're taking safety precautions, but at the same time, you gotta keep the user experience up there too. So
Right.
yeah. I forgot what we were gonna say. Something about ClickPay.
Oh yeah, what were you
Amazon.
saying?
No, I was saying when I buy stuff, it usually says, do you want to go through your Google account or your Facebook account,
Right.
so that I don't have to create a separate account. What are the pros and cons of that?
Just
Of
convenience,
what?
I think.
It is very convenient from the user perspective, but there are times where I think, will they have all of my Google? And I'm thinking everybody's got all of everything anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that idea. Yeah,
Yes.
I've given up on that.
Yes, forgiven up.
They've got it all.
Yes.
Your information.
Yeah.
Were you asking like what the company benefits from using that?
No,
or?
no.
What, Google?
As the individual.
Like
yes.
signing up for things and giving
Yes.
your information.
Your
Should I be
Google.
concerned
Yes.
about
Oh.
other companies having my information? Google does a pretty good job, I think, of
Securing. authenticating.
keeping your information secure.
Famous last words, but.
I mean, if there's anyone to do it, they're probably the best ones to keep it secure.
Right.
I mean, although that's not Yahoo had a big compromise a couple years ago.
Or even
Like
Equifax.
2 billion
credit.
accounts were compromised.
Yeah. credit company.
So I was thinking of all the language that you're using, that you used earlier because of the games that you were talking about, the phishing and the, all of that.
Lower.
And then now that we're talking about, your identity compromised and Googling and all that. When you see something from 50 years ago, is there any vocabulary or language where you think, what the heck are they talking about? Has there ever been a time where you, and I'm just thinking 50 years because that's within my lifetime.
So the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen videos of the 70s and they talk, well, at least ones from California, like, hey, man. They talk kind of like that. So I find that interesting.
Yes.
Vocabulary. There's
or
no vocabulary.
Concepts or something where you think.
The way they think is
no
very
clue.
interesting. It's very
Yes.
like, I don't know, like you're cool if you understand the references and somehow everyone understands all the references.
Yes.
And I don't
yes.
understand the references.
Yes. Well, it's the same thing with the internet and gaming and all of that, because you had to take me through the glossary of all the terms.
Yeah.
And
But that's like not. There's so many different things that probably I don't know about, so I
Yes.
don't. It's not like. I mean, I don't know if they had any condescending views of people who weren't in the know in the 70s, but yeah, there's just probably more of that now. I saw interesting footage of the 1920s, like New York City, and it's funny, like one of the top comments was someone explaining their grandmother's point of view of what it was like
in the
as a lady
1800s.
in the I think it was
Yes.
1920s, maybe
Yes.
it was 1800s. I don't even know if they had video
Mm.
back then, and so it was just interesting. She was explaining things that seem very backwards, but or like, if a lady would, if they were walking in public, they wouldn't ask a man for like directions because they would be considered a loose woman.
Yes.
So, and just for asking like, hey, how do I get to
Yes. Yes.
So they would ask another lady or something.
Yeah.
Horse poo was very common, like on the streets.
Yes.
Um,
And you could say the word, I would imagine.
what?
It's not about horse poo.
Oh, whether or not you could say that back
Yeah,
then?
yes, yes.
Oh, I don't know.
I would imagine you can.
What else? Well, I guess child labor was a thing back then.
No, it still is
Yeah, that's true. Not
Doesn't
in the
go
United
away.
States, but
in other countries.
yeah. And yeah, just seeing everyone in their overcoats, all the men in overcoats and top hats, and the ladies.
It was a bit like when people used to travel when we were younger. They would dress in their best clothes to travel.
Yeah, that's true.
And people put a jacket on and, all of that.
Right.
Even on a plane flight.
Yeah.
Now you rarely see people
Yeah.
with a tie on
Yeah.
in the plane.
Yeah, and then it was interesting, like I guess they attached a camera to a car, and they were driving through New York City, and then like everybody would like look, kind of like how you look at like the Google Map vehicles.
Yes,
Everyone's
yes.
like, huh? So it's just funny everyone's like, huh? Like looking at the things like,
What is that?
yeah, hey, I'm from the future.
Yeah.
And then like in the background you could see people entering like buildings where it seems like this person was working, and now they don't even exist.
Yeah, most of those people in that video are probably
Yeah.
dead.
And I just think like, they were
And
probably
that's-
working really hard, and they probably thought that their lives were meant something kind of thing. And
Oh God, you're going downhill.
Let's just take a
well,
turn.
just
Yes,
like I don't know.
Or maybe they didn't. Maybe they're just on autopilot. Maybe.
Yeah,
they're
maybe.
just
Maybe they
doing
think,
their-
oh, what
I gotta
a
get
pain.
bread.
Or like
I need
I bet you they
milk.
cared what people thought more.
Yes.
Whereas
Yeah,
I think a lot of
that's-
people.
Am I looking good?
Yeah. Or what will this person think? Or
Yes.
Although I guess people might think that more with social media, but
I get the sense that people maybe think less of that stuff now. It seems like a
Probably.
traditional thing to have these social expectations, at least for the modern youngster.
I guess theirs is more of like making their life look better than it is.
That's interesting.
Like if they travel a lot.
I don't disagree that people still do that. Like, I mean, when you're on Instagram, a lot of people take pictures of like when they're meeting famous people or something, or you know, the term flexing on the gram,
Yeah.
where it's like you want to like show off on Instagram about how cool everything is in your life. So that still exists. But you cannot do that, and like, I don't know, there aren't any implications.
Maybe, yeah.
If you piss off the wrong person in the 1920s, your life could be ruined, maybe.
I wonder.
Opportunities were
I know
scarce.
there's a level of formality in Pakistani culture. It still exists where, you know, when someone comes in the room who is older than you, you're expected to stand up.
Oh, yeah.
To welcome them. And I imagine in other places as well, I'm sure Pakistan isn't unique in this, but or if somebody is carrying something, you take it from them.
I wonder how I'd feel.
And if you don't do that, there's this feeling of you have no respect for this person, if they are from that same culture and the expectation.
Trying to think like how I would feel if I was an old person and somebody was like,
"Can I help you?"
Yeah, but in the way that, oh, you're old, can I help you? Not like something else.
Or even as women, you know,
yeah,
you get up for someone and say, "Why don't you sit here?" And it's considered polite. But I remember once when Munim was helping.
Say that again. The ladies have to get up for other people.
No.
Oh yeah, getting
Somebody
up for a
gets
lady.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So when once Munim was helping this lady carry her bag, he offered to help, and Daniel goes, "That's sexist."
Did I?
Yeah, I remember you were much younger than
Okay.
time, and you know, don't do that because
Yeah.
she'll be offended. That who are you to help me?
Daniel came up with these ideas.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought, oh wow, we don't know the rules anymore.
Although I actually have heard that maybe.
Is that
And when
sexist?
people open
Like
the door,
the opening the door thing. Like, oh, I
Yes.
can open my own door.
yes,
That kind of thing. I feel like I've gotten that response
How
before.
do I feel about that?
But for me, I just do it regardless.
I mean, you
if
don't.
someone's-
Yeah, you don't
It's
usually
not
think
like,
it's a man or a woman. You just leave the
yeah.
door open. But there are times where, you know, you've got a group of people, and who, you know, and you're sitting on a bus, or you enter the bus, and you need a place to sit, and who will get up?
Oh, yeah. If it's a pregnant
Yeah.
lady that just
Yes,
came in.
with a pregnant lady, an old man, a kid, you know, who
Yeah.
gets up for whom?
Yeah.
And when are you offending someone by getting up? When are you being polite? I mean, generally, of course, people are fine. You get up because you're being nice to them. You say, "Here, sit in my place." But
I definitely think there shouldn't be the
Offensive.
negative
Oh.
reaction if somebody doesn't get up for someone. That's how I feel.
What about
But
if they do something?
Then
Well,
that's fine.
Yeah.
no. But what if somebody is clearly is having a problem standing?
If they're physically unable to, let's
Yes.
define that, where it's like they're gonna fall.
No,
If they can stand-
look tired. They look as if they need to sit down. They've got a bag in one hand, and then they've
And
got a
she's
baby
pregnant.
there.
You should have prepared better, in my opinion.
Oh gosh!
What? That's not. If you're unprepared, you can't just. It shouldn't be a negative thing if nobody helps you. Now, but again, if you have one leg and you're or not even one leg, but if it looks like you're gonna fall and
Yes.
physically hurt yourself, that's
Yes,
the
yes.
point where maybe an expectation comes, and it would be frowned upon if somebody didn't get up. But if you can,
But the whole dynamic of weak versus not so weak, or the powerful.
I mean,
you
a
know,
pregnant lady is fragile, but are they
Yes.
weak?
No, I'm not calling the pregnant weak.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because I don't think she is. In fact.
Because remember, I think less rules is better, because if we start making rules, now you guys are going to have to follow my rules.
I hate to say this, but fewer.
Okay, that's fine. What did I say? Less?
Less.
Okay, fewer.
No, I don't know. It just grated on me,
Yeah,
and
that's
so I
fine.
said it. But it.
Yeah, we should have fewer rules, because otherwise, then everybody has to start listening to my rules then, right?
Yeah, what would your rules be?
Don't talk to me unless unless it's clear we should be conversing.
I think that's an American thing. Like, as in they normally
it?
talk more. Yeah, that's what I've heard on the internet.
What?
That Europeans or even Scandinavians at a bus stop won't talk to each other. They'll keep
Yes.
distance.
Yes.
But here it's like, hey, how's your day going?
Yes.
Really,
That
I
would
actually
never
heard
happen.
I heard the opposite.
Oh, really?
About in Norway, like people will have a conversation and then
I've heard in England
you have to get out of it because it's like they feel rude if they stop the conversation or something. They're like they keep talking about stuff and
To random people or?
yeah, to like a random
okay.
person.
Okay,
But
never mind.
anyway.
I've heard, again, this is all stereotype, that yes, the American high is an opener to
Americans
conversation.
generally small talk more.
Yes,
Is the stereotype, I guess.
it's a stereotype.
So you're
I
saying
don't
don't
know.
talk to me? That's the rule?
Yeah,
Unless
just,
needed.
Like the thing that first comes to mind is like in an Uber car. Like I'm not interested in talking to you,
I
and
think
you
that's a
half the
common thing.
time they say really crazy things. I'm
Although
like,
sometimes it's nice to talk to people that it makes them feel a bit more comfortable, and it makes you also feel a bit more comfortable. I guess if they're going to say crazy things, like somebody once said to us that
but what happens if you're not interested in? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What happens if you're not interested in what they're talking about? How do you? I just want. I paid this Uber so you could transport me to another location, not so I can.
But there's this human element.
Yeah, but it's also human to have peace and quiet.
Yes.
That is a common complaint too. People
What?
are saying that for Uber drivers, people make memes about that. Like
What, they don't like talking?
they don't like talking. Yeah.
The Uber drivers don't like talking?
No, the
or
other way. The passengers don't
Passengers don't
driving.
like.
Look, if Uber
They
has
should
a
have a
thing
button.
where my interests are listed on my profile, and then the driver looks and like, oh, this guy plays World of Warcraft, so do I. I'll talk about that. Maybe then we'd have a conversation where I'd enjoy it.
Yes.
But there's a high chance that I'm
I'm
not
not
going to
gonna
enjoy
enjoy
what
it.
you're about to talk about. What we're talking about? We're talking about rules. We're talking about expectations.
Yes.
Oh, when is it negative for someone not to get up for someone else?
And I was asking, what are your rules? So you're saying if I have to play by somebody else's
Yeah.
rules, they have to play by my rules.
Well, I guess
and
my
so-
rules could contradict some of the other rules.
Yes,
Where,
yes.
well, as I just said, if you can physically stand, even if you're old or pregnant, if I don't want to get up, I shouldn't have to get up.
I don't know what my rules are. My rules are that people
guess it's
should be
what-
considerate. I
Yeah.
just don't want to be bullied or bossed around.
I agree
You
with
should
that.
Just be considerate,
Yeah,
and I won't enter your space
yeah.
if you suggest you don't want me to. But
People
I
who,
have, as I've gotten older, and
Mhm.
I'm very conscious of this, and I don't know if this is good or bad. I've gotten more comfortable talking to strangers, and which I didn't used to do when I was younger.
I think that's fine.
But then I think, am I this chatty old person? You know how that can be irritating too, where you think, am I
Yeah.
talking too much?
Well, you
As long
can
as
just
have a
read
social
the
cue.
read
yeah.
the
Yes.
yeah. You gotta read the person, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
If they're giving you very short answers back, then maybe you should stop talking.
Yeah.
or just being too cheerful. Think, am I being too cheerful now? Now I'm irritating myself.
I gave that up a while ago, but because it's just not because like I thought it bothered other people,
Mm.
but it bothered me because I would be cheerful when I'm not actually that cheerful,
Mm.
and I'd be like, I'm not even like that happy. Why am I like?
I'm
It's
generally
usually in
happy.
social interactions.
Yes.
I'd laugh at stuff that maybe I actually didn't think was that funny, and now I think it feels better to just be real as possible.
What about you?
That way, the laughing when
I-
it does happen will feel really good.
Are you
Yeah.
a cheerful person? I mean, do
Yeah.
you-
I think I'm.
Yeah, you
I
laugh.
generally
you
laugh
laugh
more.
a lot and loudly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's just
definitely
mine.
laugh
I think that's just.
when he's in the game, when he's in the zone.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Even our neighbors can sometimes mention they can hear your laugh.
Laugh.
really
Yeah, Tanya.
interesting. Which
In a
neighbors?
nice
That
way.
one or that
Barbara.
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Barbara.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the farther one.
Yes, but she compliments on the fact that you can hear him laugh.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what's our wrap up for the day? Are we at the point of wrap up?
Yeah, we got 1 minute left.
Yeah.
guess we'll just keep doing what we're doing. I'm applying for jobs. Dinah's starting a coffee business. Mom's
My
having
next
a
book. Next book.
Oh, she's making a new one.
A new one. It's called Sanctuary for Dancing Bears.
And you've made a new one before you released your first one.
Yep. I am already have thought through
Oh,
the
no.
story, and I will start writing it.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
That's good. Well, if there's nothing else to say, then I'll just wrap this up. So
Adios.
until next time, toodaloo.
See ya.